Welcome, this is the Athabasca Pottery Club, and we're going to be going over pottery basics. So, how do you build with clay? Depending on what your project is, you could be starting with different pieces. In this case today, we're going to be doing a pencil holder and maybe a small bird afterwards. So we're going to take our slab of clay. It's flat, rolled out. We have Athabasca pottery stamps to show that it was homemade here in the Athabasca Pottery Club. We're going to flip it over. Now we could leave it plain if we like plain, but I like patterns and I also like rollers. So we're going to evenly push with our roller. You can use almost anything for patterns. I've even seen people use like corn cobs and stuff. We're going to do it like this. Okay. Looks good enough. We have more around the edges than what we're going to need. So this is a dry fit. Got plenty of room. I also like doing tracers because I can't draw a perfect circle. Anything with a perfectly sharp point is called a sharp here. You're just going to use that to trace around. Trace, 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 trace. Okay. And this we're probably going to use some later. Our clay here does dry out fast, so we're just going to wrap it back up like you do with any other clay. So it doesn't dry out, remains nice and soft. Okay, here's our piece. Okay, you can either decorate them after you put them together or before. In this case, we are going to do it before. I have several tools here. I have a metal one and a homemade rasp. Not sure if you can see them there. So I'm going to do it like a tree pattern practically. Just scrape, scrape. It also hides a lot of the imperfections and thumbprints and stuff. We can add more later. I'm just going to do a little bit for now. And we can do other things with it as well. So you can do some deeper lines. Just have to watch because our tube's trying to collapse here a little bit on me. A little bit more like tree vines. You can do like little holes inside of it. Put there. We don't really want plains. We want to give it that rough and rustic look, I think. Try and show you this. Just kind of cuts through it like butter. Okay, so we have our rough pattern here. We can tap up the edges if we want a little more patterning to them. I'm not going to do much here, so it's not too long. So to join them, you're going to take your two pieces. We have what's called slip. It's basically a really wet clay, and it's just a really, really soft clay. This one's a little harder than usual. You're going to score, or in other words, rough up the edges you want to glue together, just so it sticks a bit better. This one's pretty smooth. That one's already got a pattern. You're going to put it on the edges. And get them all. This is your glue. You gotta have a little too much slip and have to clean up, then not have enough and have it fall apart, because then things are a little harder to fix later on. Okay, then put it as center as you can, and you push down. It's still fairly soft at this point, so you can decorate however you like. So there's that. And now, into our tool, You can probably see a little bit of the runoff in here. We're just gonna go through and clean that up. This is easier to clean now than later. Little bits like that. Some bits, like these little hard balls, are easier to clean when it's a little bit harder. So let me bring this back up to you. So these little bits, they're a little too hard to clean now. Same with all the edges, they'll be saved for cleaning later. So, still it's kind of boring. Maybe we need some other decorations in here. Maybe we're going to put a hole in it. So you can do all sorts of carving, all sorts of decorations. Doesn't need to be perfect this round. You can clean up when it's a little bit harder, so then it's not going to have so much give to it. I'm going to wrap up this clay. Okay. You are going to want to watch your clay. It is going to shrink about 20% overall by the time it's done, so it's not going to be as big as you think it is. This is just the right size for some other stuff. You can do all sorts of decorations. You can add things on before, things on after, or we can use a little bit of clay and make some decorations for afterwards to slip on as well. So a little bit of clay. It's just a cookie cutter. That's all it is. And presto. Not the best leaf I've ever seen. Once again, score the back, rough it up some. Then you're going to take some more slip, apply the slip, and you've now got a leaf at the base of your tree. And if you want to do different kinds, there's all sorts of things you can do. I need a little bit of softer clay. This one's already hardened a little bit, it was out. As I find it. Okay, so there's this. This is just a little fondue mold meant for baking. And baby powder, this cornstarch variety, it keeps it from sticking. Just want a little coat. Just a dusting of it's all you want. And you get a maple leaf. Forgot to score that a bit. And we're going to put him there. Go. And maybe you want some pebbles or an acorn or something. You can hand build as well. That's not an issue. Just put some texturing on it. Make it look a little more rock-like. There we go. Got a rock. Still some powder in here. That. I'm just using any tool that comes to hand to rough up the back. And you can do all sorts of things, little birds, more stenciling. Lots of your detail now with carving you can do now. Some you can do later on. Lots of these little bits I'll clean up later. Give it that rough wooded look. You can use all sorts of things around the house. Even an old toothbrush does some neat stuff. Dental floss can do some nice cutting. It's amazing what you can do there. Okay, so I think this is about done until we hit the cleaning stage. It's a little bit harder, so you can see if I try and wipe this off. Bring it a little closer. So here's a little ball right there. If I try and wipe it off, it just smears it in. So I'll leave it until next week. It'll just break right off, and it's not going to cause any hassle. And that's it for that one. We built our little pencil holder, but we have leftover clay. So let's play with it a little bit more here. We're going to do this little tiny pinch bird. It'll be a nice, cute little decoration. Start with a ball, I'm going to turn it into a V. To a V, we're going to pinch the head, squish it a bit. You can get a tail out of here too. Pinch the beak out. Okay. So there's our little bird. I think we need some more wings. So, and our little piece of clay. Roll into a ball. Flatten it. Pinch the one wing up to a triangle. Make sure it's big enough for the bird. Not quite. So you can either pinch it wider or add more clay. We're going to turn it around to hide it so you get the best side facing outwards. And that looks more believable. Okay, so we're going to score the back. A little bit of clay. As you can see, a little bit of clay oozed up around the wing. Just clean it up, means you have a good seal. There's that. Let's get in there a piece. So on a ball, I'm going to squish it, turn it into a V, or a teardrop shape if you prefer. It's close to the size of the other one, not quite. I just tore off a little bit there just to make them a little more similar. Okay, looks about right. We're going to score it. Add some slip. Okay. Go. We can add some details. Let's give them eyes. So I can do it where you guys can see it. Give them a smiley face. And you can add things like wing stripes on the wings. Get all nice and fancy. Lots of these rough, wrinkly looks, you'll smooth it with the sponge usually in a couple of days or in a week when things are a little bit harder. Let's flatten that up. I could be doing it a lot nicer. I'm just kind of rushing here to get it all in one video. Okay. If you're really lazy, you could put them on as a side. I'm just going to leave them loose for a different project. Maybe separate, who knows. Okay, so that's the basics of how to build a little bit there. We went over slip, rollers, cookie cutters. We went over various tools. You can make your own tools. These are just some stiffer cleaning brush bristles taped onto an old paintbrush. And there you have it. Thanks for watching, and if you want to come back for the cleaning one next week, please be welcome to. Have a great day.